So the brief said, make a fragrance for a prostitute. We'll see how this one goes. Hi guys, it's Actual Mono. How's everyone doing? Good, I hope. Let's do it. Let's finally talk about Taboo by Dana. I'm gonna do it. I've had this bottle for a while. I was given this bottle by a lovely lady. I'm really sorry, I can't remember your name. It was quite a while ago, so I do apologise, but she gave me 2 perfumes. Taboo was one of them because it was something that I've mentioned a couple of times on my channel about wanting to review. So I've used this much of it, which to some people might seem crazy because this is the infamous Oriental perfume. As far as I know, this was one of, if not the first Oriental perfume that ever came about. It paved the way for things like Youth Dew, Calvin Klein's Obsession, Opium, and multiple other Oriental perfumes. If anyone knows if it is the first one or just one of, please feel free to share in the comments. But I'm here to finally talk about it. So this fragrance was made in 1932 by a perfumer called Jean Carles, and the brief of the perfume was make a fragrance that a prostitute would wear. So I don't know if that adds up to the hype, the hate, the love for this perfume, because this is one that really divides crowds, I think still today, as it did back then. And yeah, I mean, that's a pretty cool brief, and I'm sure that was kind of shocking back then, no? I would say so. So for the record, I'm reviewing the newest version of Taboo. This is a super cheapie, and I'm gonna start by saying, if you are looking to go down the vintage route and dip your toes into the world of vintage perfumery, this might be a good place to start because it's not gonna break the bank. However, you might not like it. Like I said, it's a crowd divider. So what are the notes? So because this is a very old fragrance and it's been around for a while and it's reached legendary status, whether that's a good legendary or bad legendary, the note lists are jumbled up in all the places that you read them. It's just one of those things. It happens sometimes with perfumes. I am going with Fragrantica for this time around because I've seen many different variations of the note lists, and here we go. So the top notes are orange, bergamot, coriander, and neroli. The heart notes are cloves, ylang ylang, rose, narcissus, aka daffodil, and jasmine. And the base notes are cinnamon, amber, patchouli, benzoin, white musk. It says musk, but I'm putting it to white musk, civet, oak moss, cedarwood, and vetiver. So let me spray it on for the millionth time. Like I said, I've used a significant amount of this before I did this review. Yeah, it's been fun. So this is a reminder spray. I'm very familiar with how this smells. I first want to say, what's all the fuss about, guys? Why does everyone go so crazy about this perfume being so horrible? It's one of the fragrances I love reading reviews about. It's just entertainment factor because people either love this or they just are horrified by it. Being someone that loves Orientals, and this is an Oriental spicy, I was not shocked by it. I thought it was actually beautiful. The opening's fantastic. There's a little bit of a dodgy section in the middle, and then the dry down is even better. So I don't know what everyone's concerned about, seriously. So the opening, if you're familiar with Youth Dew, if you're familiar with Opium, those big, rich Orientals, you're immediately reminded of those, or those remind me of this, or that this reminds me of them. It's kind of back and forth because it's that very distinctive style. And this, to me, isn't overly spicy. There is spice in there, but it's more at the beginning focused on rich florals and resins. So although there is an ambery feel, which is kind of what constitutes an Oriental, this has got a lot more going on. So it's very perfumey. It feels like one of those fur coat, old school type things, and it's got a richness, but it's not overbearing. I would love to smell the vintage as a side note. I mean, I can imagine a lot of the reviews are based on the original, but I'm going to do this one because this one is the one that's readily available still today, and it's so cheap. I like it. You can smell both musks here, and I'm trying to think of fragrance fragrances that I've smelled in the past that contain both a dark musk and a white musk. Something that I never thought I would see together, and man does it work. I can smell a spark of cleanliness mixed in with all of this oriental richness. Really, really nice, and then subdued spices. It's almost like the resins cover the spices over a bit. I thought it was going to be way more spicy. I thought it was going to be actually more focused on spice than anything, kind of like Calvin Klein's Obsession, that type of oriental. But no, it's actually got a smoothness, a beautiful perfumey resinous with florals mingled in that don't really feel like any one in particular. It doesn't feel like jasmine, it doesn't really feel like ylang ylang either. You can just tell that there's a nice floral note floral bouquet in there, but it feels more about resins. So this is where, when it starts to dry, is where I think it starts to go wonky, and this is probably why I think people always are up in arms about this one, is the civet note. I can imagine that the original probably was way dirtier, way more aggressive, way more shocking, but this one, the civet in here is tame. It's only a slight element of the fragrance, and what it does when it starts to dry is I can feel something a bit masculine. It feels a little bit like a classic men's fragrance at points. It's like an oriental and whatever a men's oriental would be smushed together. Why did I say oriental like that? That was strange. So it's the dirtiness underneath. The civet is underneath. It's the undertone, it's the background. It's not something that jumps forward at you and screams, hey, I'm a dirty musk fragrance and I'm really carnal and I'm ugly and I'm shocking. I think it's done in quite a good way in the new one. I don't need to say that anymore, guys. You know that I'm reviewing the new one, right? Did I say that? So yeah, it's when it's in the mid stages of the fragrance that's where it becomes less likable in my opinion, but then the dry down, oh my gosh, love it. So the first negative I'm going to say about this fragrance is it doesn't really go anywhere in terms of strength and longevity. It's very top heavy. It feels like it's going to be one of those fragrances that's overbearing and crazy and strong and oh my gosh, did I just spray too much? But this new one, obviously much more watered down, much more tame, and the whole process only takes about 3 hours, and after 3 hours it's very close to skin. However, the way it smells when it's dry is, I think, my favorite part. The dry down to me is the best. It feels almost like an incense. It feels like a Nag Champa joss stick smoke that gently hits my nose every now and then. This is where it becomes really oriental. It's oriental in a resinous way in the beginning, and then the dry down is a different type of oriental feeling. It's more about smoke, it's about a gentle amber, and it's got this almost verging on smoky incense smell, and I love that type of smell. I like that sort of head shop, hippie shop smell in a perfume, and this has got elements of that in the dry down. So again, what's all the fuss about, guys? So that's it really. That's all I can say to sum up about Dana's TABU. So the biggest downside is the longevity, but for the price that it is, you can afford to spray a bit more, and like I said, it would be a good foray into vintage if you don't want to break the bank but want to experience the way or the structure a vintage oriental would have been made back then. Some of them still do feel like that now, but this is the OG, man. This one is the OG oriental as far as I know. So anyway, guys, I hope you like this video. I hope you like this fragrance if you try it. I'm Ouch for Mono, trying to make the world smell better, one video at a time. I'll see you guys soon. Goodbye.